You're Locked On Wild, your daily podcast on the Minnesota Wild. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome in to yet another edition of What the Hell Are You Smoking? It is a Monday night. Wild preseason has begun, and Denny and I are here to have a good time tonight. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. You know the drill by now. If you have any questions, make sure to drop them in the comment section, and I'll be keeping an eye on that throughout the show. So if you've got any questions, we'll flag them. We'll star them. Flag has a negative connotation in YouTube shows. We're going to star them so that we can get to them later. But all right, Denny, I will hand it over to you.
All right. Well, good evening, guys and girls. It's always a pleasure to have you here. And I want to start the show by saying I missed last Sunday's show because I had a minor heart attack and I was in the hospital. I'm good to go now, but that's what happened. Shit happens when you get old. You know what I mean? Moving on from there, I always try to talk about something good that happened in my life, and I'm going to bring up a Vikings encounter. I was against the Green Bay Packers. And it was Randy Moss and Chris Carter and all the guys. And we were in the cheesehead section. And my buddy, his name was Big Al. And we had bet the whole line of chairs that we were going to win the game. And the very next play, Chris Carter caught the touchdown laying on his back in the end zone. We got 14 beers. It was just amazing.
Not a bad
One of the
day.
most amazing TDs I've ever seen in my life. You know, and talking about the 97-yarder that JJ just had was simply amazing. But I think the best TD the Vikings that I ever saw was Ahmad Rashad with the miracle catch on the last play of the game with the one-hander against Cleveland in 1980. Simply phenomenal.
You want to know
Other
my
than that,
favorite?
What?
So this was against the Denver Broncos. This was the Dante Culpepper days.
Yep.
He threw it to Moss. Moss was getting tackled, and he lateraled it to Mo Williams. And Williams took it into the end zone the rest of the way.
I remember.
Me being a broadcast nerd, I remember PA doing that call. And I don't know who his color commentator was at the time, but you can just hear the guy say, "Oh, look at this."
Well, you know, it's funny you bring this up because the play before Ahmad's miracle catch, or whatever you want to call it, Tommy Kramer threw it to Sensor, who lateraled to Teddy Brown. They called it the ladder play, and he went up the field and out of bounds with 5 seconds left. That's what made that happen. Interesting take there.
Yeah.
At any rate, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say we got a good crew already. I'm just going to shout out the people that are already here. Amanda is here, able to make it on time for one of these. So we're glad you're here, Amanda. Nathan is here. Ace is here. We got a good crew.
All right. Well, you know, we got the best audience there is. This is truly a family, and it just keeps growing. To give you an update, 4,600 views for one show is the new Locked On Wild record. And people are learning about Locked On Wild. And that's a good thing.
It was all those angry Edmonton fans.
Oh.
So if there are any angry Edmonton fans in here, hi.
Yeah, Amanda, nice to see you here. It's good. Who else is here?
Amanda, Andrew, Ace, and Nathan are the main commenters right now. Urban is here as well.
Oh, good.
So we got a good crew.
Yes. A lot of intelligent hockey players or people there. I want to start out the show by saying I was making some comments on the Purple podcast, and I don't know who the comments were because I said that the Vikings could probably, I was thinking back about how good this offense is right now and who I could compare them to. And I came up with the 98 Vikings, which, they scored 556 points in one season, which I don't know if it's a record or not, but it's the best the Vikings have. And this team here, when you think about when we get back our stars, we have a very good chance of beating the 98 record. I really believe that. And on defense, they're talking about how they're all going crazy. Well, the 1985 Bears had what was called the 46 defense. And it was Buddy Ryan's, he was the defensive coordinator back then. And he did the exact same thing that they're doing right now. And for the entire season, the Bears averaged 12 points a game, giving up 12 points a game. And the Vikings are ahead of that already by only allowing 10. So all I can say is I can see the Vikings going undefeated in Super Bowl.
And
that's all I'm going to say about football.
What's the difference, Denny? Coaching.
Well, we have the best coaches there are. I mean, I'm so impressed with what they're doing. And the changes they make at halftime is what really shows the keys.
Mm-hmm.
And, I could talk about football for hours. I love football. But this is a hockey show, so let's get on with the hockey. To begin, I want to start by I think we should start with the lineup, the predicted lineup from Russo and Jesse also said the same thing. When you got Kaprizov, Hartman, and Zuggs as your first line, with Mojo, Eck, and Boldy in the second, Foligno, Rossi, and Trennan on the third, Lago, Murat, and Freddie on the fourth. Yeah. That's a recipe for disaster.
Well, it's just, I don't know. And I've got it on screen for everybody here on YouTube if you want to take a peek at what is being suggested. I really hope that, and it seems like there's more of this from John Hines, that this is just, I'm going to throw every combination that we possibly could have at the wall, see what sticks, and then go into the season with that. But, we talked about it at length. In fact, I did like 2 different episodes on it, Denny, and just looking at the numbers. Because the crazy thing to me is, as good as that Kaprizov, Boldy, Eriksson, Ek line was, the Zuccarello, Rossi, Hartman line actually had a better expected goals percentage than they did. Now, I know it was a very, very small sample size, but you could keep Kaprizov, Boldy, Eriksson, Ek together. You could have that as your second line, and you could have more expected goals than Kaprizov, Hartman, Zuccarello, Boldy, Eriksson, Ek, Johansson would.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
I know analytics count, but I look at what's real.
Yeah.
And they scored 4 points a game, which was led the NHL for 20 games. That's real. They did it. It's not a projection. And how they want to, why they want to break that up, to me, is a recipe for disaster. I don't know what the projected goals are for the lines. Maybe you can help me out there and show what happens when that changes.
Well, what I'll say is the expected goals, and then actually Ace wants to ask a question, so I'm just gonna make this point, and I'm gonna let him ask it. But
Sure.
the Boldy Kaprizov Eriksson Ek combination had an expected goals last year of 22. They scored 31, and so they were 9 goals better than they were expected to be, which is even if you take it a step further. While he's asking his question, I'm going to see if I can find the expected goals versus what was actually scored based off of the line combinations last year.
Yes.
Ace, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Wants to go down a path, huh? Let's go.
Yeah, let's and then we'll talk about Matt Boldy too. I do see some Boldy questions in here.
Okay.
We'll talk about him too. Okay. Ooh. Ace wants to know the best case scenario for this season. Absolute best case you can imagine.
With which team?
With the Wild.
The team that, huh?
I see what you're saying. With what we currently have or with where we want to get? I'm assuming it's based off of this current roster. So,
okay. With this current roster, I have them ranked 28th and going last. Honest to God, Fleury has no business being a goalie in the league anymore. And I understand they want him to be a mentor, but that's what coaching's for. And if they're going to play Flower 40 games, we're in huge, huge trouble. The 3 goalie rotation does not work. It's been tried. It's never worked anywhere. I mean, Montreal had a little success with it, but it didn't matter. It just all it does is pisses off the goalies, and that's the truth.
Well, and it would be one thing. It'd be one thing if they were going to have Fleury be the third guy and say, we'll give you 10 starts or something like that. We'll give you a chance to kind of say goodbye. We'll give you 10 starts. That'll be it. But Bill Guerin has been adamant that he thinks that Fleury is capable of getting up there very, very high in the starts department.
Yeah, and let me bring up this stat for you, Ace. Fleury was ranked 69th out of 73 goalies with an .813 save percentage on the power play and the penalty kill. Think about that for a second. Where are we going with that? Now he's a year older and a year slower. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. This all comes back to Billy thinking we just have to play better. And he's riding it. He's riding it because right now they don't have Ogren in the game. He's sitting on the bench. Of course, with Boldy hurt, and who knows, it could also be a groin. Who knows what's going on with Boldy,
Well, and my thought too, and just hearing the response, and Freddie's in here. He's got some Urov questions that we'll get to. I'm starring them like crazy here because we have a bunch.
Good,
but I want to talk about this. And I tried to throw this out that I'm not a doctor. So I have no idea. But when they said that Boldy didn't even know that there was an issue, that there was a lower body issue until he got home,
really?
that points to swelling for me. Like a knee, like an ankle. That points to swelling because they said he went through his standard workout and through media stuff. And then when he got home is when he started to notice that there was a problem. So that to me says something like a knee or an ankle. That's
probably water if it's swelling.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
Well, and from what John Hines said, they don't think it's serious, but
they always say that.
Yeah. Well,
I don't believe anything they say when it comes to injuries.
we got week to week for like 4 guys last year, and I think 2 of them came back.
And to get back to your question, Ace, the team that I would like to see out there, You want to put up
Yes.
put that up, and I'll show you what I think the team should be.
Here's Denny's ideal lineup. Kaprizov, Eriksson, Boldy at the top. Ogren, Rossi, Heights, Foligno, who's Nadinov, Hartman, Zuccarello, Trennan, Loco. Middleton, Spurgeon, Brodeen, Faber, Chisholm, Hunt, and then your two goalies.
There you go.
Boy, do we have a lot of questions. Okay,
Good.
So I'm going to get to this because Ace just teed it up. Perfect. So if that's the best case, why are we spending to the max and giving out 4-year deals? Why can't rookies compete for a spot? Why aren't we making deals for 3-4 years down the road? Well, the Wild are that's where we're trying to get to. And only through these growing pains and realizing that some of these guys just can't cut it, that's the only way that these roster spots are going to get opened. And so it's going to be a little painful this year, I think. Especially
it's
if
going to
they
be
start
really
off,
painful.
Especially if they start off the way that they were supposed. My TV just shut off, and it makes a loud noise every time it does, which is why I was startled.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna be there's gonna be just those growing pains, to get to where we want, based off of what they currently have.
And if they go with what the team that I would like to see on there, with Wallstedt and Gus, no Flower, I think we're looking at close to 100 points. But of course, they're not going to play the kids. I mean, they don't even have Ogren starting. He's on the bench. And there's no room for any kids other than Ogren. And then, they got Murat on there. You can call him a kid too. But this is what I really think is going to happen. The first 20 games is going to tell the tale, as I've said before. We're going to start out 4-16, 5-15, somewhere in that area. The fans are going to revolt, as they should, because old and slow does not make it today's game. Billy's views on what makes a championship team, it's not happening. This is not 1980s hockey. And if you don't have speed and skill and 4 lines to play, you're not a cup contender, period.
Right.
And it's just the way it is. And my thoughts on Wallstedt, I think he's a generational talent. He's going to be our number 1 goalie for the next 10 years. Excuse me. And I really think Gus is going to make a rebound this year. He knows what he did wrong last year. He's married. He's got a kid. This is his job. I'll bet he comes in the best shape he's ever been in because he wants to keep his job. And that's my thoughts on Gus. I love Gus Bus.
Yeah, I mean this honestly. I really am not worried about Gustafsson this year. Like,
me neither.
I just he may not get to the level he was at 2 years ago, where he was second in goals against average. But
why not?
I think he also, his season also last year was weighed down by 2 bad months. If
two really bad games.
Yeah. If you take away the 2 games in particular, his numbers were pretty good.
Yeah, 9-10 actually. You take out 18 goals in 2 games, it tends to drop your save percentage.
certainly right about that.
But I really think we could be a 100-point team. And so what I think is going to happen, and I hope this happens, is that Billy steps aside, stays the president, and promotes Judd Brackett to GM and let him clean house of 4 or 5 players because we really need to. And if Freddie Goudreau's game is any indication, last night or the night before when they played Winnipeg, which we're going to go over a lot, he was sensational. He didn't take a shot. He didn't make a hit. It was the same old Freddie. He was just a piece of work. And that's all I'm going to say about Freddie.
And this, so you look at the roster of players that played in that preseason game. If you are an NHL regular, you should stand out.
Dominate.
But you weren't kidding. 17 minutes, no shots, no hits, no takeaways, no giveaways, no penalties, no block shots. 1 of 4 in the faceoff circle.
Ooh, that's strong.
And 4 minutes on the penalty kill, 28 seconds on the power play.
Well, I can tell you this. Go ahead.
There were 2 players. 4, I beg your pardon. But 2 of them were defensemen. So there were 2 forwards that played last night that didn't record a shot. But Luke Toporowski had a hit, a take, and 2 giveaways. So he still at least had a hit and a takeaway.
I was not impressed with him.
Well, and I think he's pretty young too. He might barely be 20.
Well, when I look at hockey games, I look at what they do without the puck, as you all know. And he did not impress me. All he did was make mistakes. But, he's young, he's a kid, he's learning. And that's what Iowa's for, because that's where he'll be shortly. Any other questions you want to get to right away?
Well, let's go. Actually, I think Urban might have. Urban had just one change to the lineup that you threw out there, and it was Hartman with Foligno and Trennan, and then Huznadinov on the 4th line, which,
that's doable.
And I think Trennan and Foligno together with probably Hartman, that's a line that other teams are going to circle and say that line is not going to be any fun to play against.
Yeah, I like that line, actually.
So here's what we'll say. I hope John Hines, because it sounds like that combination is going to get a look. So I hope he sees what he wants and he pencils that in and just puts that in the deck for later in the season.
Yeah. I'm really worried about Hines as our coach. Billy keeps saying that everybody's going to get a chance. But when Russo and Jesse both gave us projected starting lineups, I'm worried. I'm really worried. You can't have Flower playing 40 games. I don't care. 10 games.
Yeah. Give him an opportunity to go to all the various arenas, say his goodbyes, and
yeah. The whole thing is having Flower on the team takes a spot from somebody who should be there.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. He's one of Billy's boys, though. So what can you say?
Let's go to this one. All right. Ace asking if Riley Height takes Boldy's spot. So let's just assume for this. Let's assume Matt Boldy misses time to start the season. I think if that's the case, 1,000%. If Riley Height, unless for some reason you go through the preseason and he just does not look the part, if he impresses, and this is what it's going to take for him to get that 9-game look, 1,000% he breaks camp with the team.
Well, it was interesting. He didn't even play against Winnipeg. That's not a good sign.
Well,
I know they got a lot of players.
Did he
wasn't on the roster? I don't think so.
He may not have traveled. I believe he's going to play on Wednesday night.
Good.
against Dallas, if I read that correctly. Which reminds me, I got to resubscribe to Bally's.
Because, they got 50 players in camp, and they sent down Ryder Ritchie today, and Saap and a few others. Won't be long before they're all down there, because there's really only one spot open, and that's Ogren's. And if they do anything else, and Lord help us, as our team is not looking very strong right now. And it's just not me thinking this. I watch a lot of different podcasts and, contribute. And one out of Phoenix, he's a Minnesota boy in Phoenix, and he's got the Wild last too. And I can see why.
It's going to make for a long season.
Like I say, the first 20 games will tell the tale. And then I hope they bring in Todd Nelson and Granado and Carl from Denver. And that'll change the whole Wild period.
We are getting close to the start of the season, because now it's going to be almost a daily occurrence to where I just look completely exasperated with it's already started, and we've only played one preseason game.
So going over the game, I was impressed with a few people. Number one, Laco got my number 3. His breakaway, and he's got a very quick release. That was a beautiful goal. That's NHL stuff right there. I'm glad Judd Brackett got him, because we need somebody to replace Duhaime. And like you said in the other show, they're two of the same, except I think Laco has a little bit more grit to him, from what I understand. I haven't seen him enough to really say that yet, but he'll sure look good against Winnipeg. And let me tell you, the Winnipeg game, Winnipeg was a shooting factory against us. I mean, Wallstead faced 40 shots. And I know it's the first game and it's all the kids, but still, you could see Winnipeg's speed and skill without a doubt. I mean, they were just lining up. And Wallstead, he was the number 1 star for me. He made 2 spectacular saves on a 3-2 rush and a 2-on-1 rush. They should have been goals, and that's why I think so highly of Wallstead. I mean, he's our star, and he's going to be our star for a long time to come. And another one I was really impressed with was Damon Hunt. Boy, he's ready. I hope he makes a team, because, boy, he looked good out there. I know it's all kids, but it doesn't matter. He stood above everybody.
I'm reacting to his box score, by the way.
Huh?
I'm reacting to his box score, by the way. I just looked at it.
Oh.
He had a goal, 3 shots, 4 blocks, 3 hits. He played 24 minutes, 3 minutes on the power play, 6 minutes on the penalty kill. Wow. He was busy.
Yeah, he looked good. I mean, everything he did looked really good. And Lambos was all over the place. The one thing I can say about Lambos is he had the puck, and he drove into the corner with nowhere to go. Now, he's smarter than that. He has to learn you can't do that in NHL. But other than that, his game looked really good. He was shooting the puck when he should be shooting it. He was doing everything right. And another 2 more that I'm going to Jones looks good. Boy, he made the play of the whole game, I thought. Winnipeg had the puck at the boards. He came up, took the puck, did a quick turnaround, came out, shot the puck, rebounds out, and there's a big scramble, and he scores. And the way he did it was so nice. I mean, I was impressed. And then Clark, he looked good too. Yes, he looked good. Everything I saw from I hope we give him a chance. The goal he scored, he was in front of the net, and they took the shot, and it was deflected once, and then he just did like a 2-inch tip to score the goal. That's net front presence, knowing where you are and where the goalie is, and it was just sweet. I got it. And then what's his name? Crochet?
Crotty.
Crotty really impressed me too. He kept pushing the plays outside, and he was poke-checking on he's doing everything right. I really liked what I saw from him.
He fought Mason Shaw, didn't he?
Was that Mason?
I think he fought Mason Shaw, is what I was told at least.
Well, the Winnipeg telecast on TSN was not up to par in my. They didn't talk about the Wild at all. It was all Winnipeg. That's unbelievable. But that's all right. I still got to watch them play.
That's the main thing.
Yeah. Next question.
All right, we have which way do I want to go with this first? So a couple of things. Let's talk about Danilo Yurov a little bit, because Trav mentioning an update. He is playing again. He's played in 2 games, which is great. Just to reiterate for those there was a lot of confusion around this because he didn't play the first handful of games of the season. It was not a new injury from what I saw. It was recovering from off-season surgery that Yurov had. And so the hope was that he was going to be ready for the start of the season. He obviously wasn't. And so missed the first few games of the season, but is now back and playing, which we really like. So there's the update there, because Freddie with a couple of questions asking if Danilo Yurov is going to play in the NHL this season.
Nope.
It wouldn't be Freddie until at like the very end, because as it stands right now, basically he's in a similar situation to where Murat Huznadinov was.
Yep.
In that he's in the final year of his deal. And so once his deal is done, once the season is done, then he can come. Yeah, then he can negotiate to have his rights. However that works. The thing is that the team that he plays on is expected to be really good again this season, and so they're likely going to go on a deep playoff run, which means that I don't want them. Oh, and as I say that, Evan mentions that they're struggling. So maybe he will. But basically, the reason that it worked out so well for Murat is because the team that he played on in the KHL was awful. And so once the regular season was done, there was still plenty of time for him to come here.
What did Murat play? 4 games?
Murat played 16. Ogren played 4.
Ogren. Yes, that's who I was thinking of.
So I would guess it's not likely that we see Yurov this year. But Freddie's next question, one of my favorites to hash out, are we going to see Zeev Buium by the end of the year? And the answer to that is yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, we will.
He's going down the Brock Faber Golden Road. And when we get Zeev here, we're going to have an elite defense. I mean, elite once again. I mean, the Wild had an elite defense for 3-4 years. I don't care what anybody says. You can talk about Spurgeon and Brodin all you want, but they're not big enough for this or that. They're elite. And Brock Faber and Zeev with Spurgeon, Middleton, and Brodin. And I'm not sold on Chisholm quite yet. His two-way game needs a little work yet, but it's a learning process. He gets up the ice real well, and he can pass real well. His back check needs work.
And I think that's why we saw the Wild just give him the 1-year deal. Is kind of a let's see how this year goes. I don't think he's as much of a crater as Kalen Addison was defensively, but
no, not at all.
and the other part too, the other part of the coin is that I think Chisholm seems more likely to be willing to put in the time to learn.
Oh, I think he is.
Whereas Addison was not.
Well, one thing I can say is I hope that Damon Hunt gets up here a lot sooner than later because he's ready.
Yeah.
I don't know why they sent him down last year, as I've said before, but the kid looks good. And his slapper from the blue line, oh, I love seeing that. That's just a thing of beauty. It was accurate. It was low. Goalie had no chance. Never saw it.
Ace transitions us into a little Middleton conversation. What is the plan with Middleton if Zeev is less than 1 season away? What was the thought process there? Are we really paying a third pairing guy $4.25 million?
Oh, I think we'll trade him. Cap space means a lot. Middleton's a damn good defenseman. I like him. And it's an easy contract to move. He's not overpaid at all. But I could see that happening in the future.
Here's how I see this going. If the Wild are out of it by the trade deadline, I think Bogosian 100% is moved because no trade protection, and GMs talk themselves into the value of guys that have won Stanley Cups before. And so there will be some team that will take a flyer on him.
Well, my thoughts on Bogo is this. He likes to shoot the puck, and he's big.
Yeah.
His deficits are he has no foot speed, and he gets lost. He loses his player more than he keeps with him. And anybody with any speed just goes around like butter. He wouldn't be on my team, I'll tell you that.
I'm gonna look here because this is the other part of the equation too. Is as all these young guys come up, that's more ELCs that are on your roster. So next year, Merrill will be gone. I would imagine Bogosian will be gone. Chisholm probably will be gone, and we'll see on the rest of the top guys. But if you bring Boyum up, he's on his ELC. Damon Hunt will be on probably the last year of his ELC.
Yeah, Trev would know.
Oh, he's on the last year of his ELC this year. So then my guess is that the Wild would sign him to a cheapish type deal, 1 or 2
entry-level contract.
Yeah, something similar to that for the next couple of years. So he'd be on a cheap deal. Carson Lambos still has 1 year on his ELC after this year. And as you have more players on ELCs on your roster, that means that you have money that can go elsewhere.
Yeah.
So
more questions. Let's go.
Well, let's see here. Which direction do I want to go now?
Amanda has no questions. What's going on, Amanda?
Let's go to this one. Any reason why Murat isn't considered in between Kaprizov and Zuccarello? Younger, more disciplined, and better at faceoffs than Hartman.
I agree completely. Hartman is not a first-line center. I don't care what they say. Hartman had a career year, and good for him. But that was 3 years ago. He's best suited for third line now. And, Hines is I don't know what he's thinking. I really don't. I know they're trying to, as I said, fill the gaps to make, Hartman on the first line doesn't work for me at all. And that's just Murat. he's going to be a special player for us. I think he's good at faceoffs already. He's got a good two-way game. He's a better skater than I thought he was, and in time I can see him being a real easy 1-2 line. But he's really young, and we got a lot of talent in front of him. So third line is perfect. Because my whole deal with timing is that and Dallas does this. Every line plays 15 minutes or very close to it. And then whatever lines are taken advantage of, they get the extra minutes. I would not have a fourth line playing 7-8 minutes like Hines does. The worst they would be is 13, maybe 12, depending on how bad the matchup is. That's all about coaching. And I wish Hines would do that, but, it's not good playing Brock 25, 30 minutes a game. I don't care if he's a young man or not. That just wears you out. He shouldn't play never more than 18, 20.
And that's why getting Spurgeon back is so big, because that's going to take off the plate of Brodin, of Middleton, of Faber, and that's going to spread the responsibilities around to where you say, okay, Brock, you handle the power play. Spurgeon can handle the penalty kill, so you're not burning everybody out on all different manner of things. Amanda did ask a question. I missed it. So I'll pop it.
What's the question?
Do you think Boldy being down for a couple of games actually sets us up for better lines for the rest of the season? I think
losing Boldy doesn't help at all.
Well,
but it does give a kid a chance.
Yeah, I think that's more where Amanda was going with that. Is I think it forces the coaching staff to look at different combinations and say, if this does happen during the regular season, who are we going to look to step up? Like
Ogren and Height.
Are we going to look to Marcus Johansson to take all those opportunities?
Well, my thoughts on Mojo. He took the year off. He got a contract. He did nothing for it. I've lost all respect for him as a player. I don't care what he does. He wouldn't be on my team. And because of what he did when he got a contract, GMs know what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're going to sign him to a long-term contract? Hell no.
I hope not.
He'll be lucky to get a 1-year deal anywhere, no matter how well he plays.
Okay, so we talked about that one. Ace is all over it here tonight. Rossi potentially forcing a trade as we can't afford him. I don't think it's going to get to him forcing a trade. I think Bill Guerin would just do it if he doesn't feel like there's enough room on this roster to get him into the top 6.
Well, that's just ridiculous. Rossi's a stud, and he's only getting better. As I've talked about before, and they'll probably replace him with Freddie. Because we want those experienced NHLers in there. Yeah, I know I'm hard on Billy right now, but for good reason. His projected starting lineup is, I don't know where they come up with this stuff. I understand what they're trying to do, but you do it with the kids.
Yeah.
Playing NHLers that have to play better doesn't work for me. It really doesn't. I'd rather play the kids and have them play better.
Yeah.
Next question.
That brings us into Ace's question. Again, why are we not worried about Kaprizov walking in 2 years? 2 years of no movement contracts means we can't do anything if he doesn't sign. Gabrick all over again. This is where the kids come in. That's where
right.
all these prospects come in is you are telling Kaprizov then, okay, this current group of players can't get it done, but check out these guys coming up. Check out these guys like, we've got Rossi here, we got Faber here, we got Boldy, we got Eck, but we've also got Urov coming. We've got Ogren, we've got Kuznetsov, we've got
we got a lot of talent.
We got Lambos, we got Buyam, we got Wallstead, we got all these guys that are going to be on the NHL roster within the next couple of years that are going to be able to do what this current group couldn't. That's the selling point. That's the pitch to keep Kirill here. And also the fact that he gets the opportunity to make $13, $14 million because
it's going to cost $14 million to sign him.
He's the top dog here. You can't do that in New York. You can't do that in Los Angeles. You can't do that in Florida. He's a good player, but he can be the top guy here from a money perspective, and that's not something he's going to be able to do in any of those other spots.
That's right. And Gabby's situation was not because he didn't like Minnesota. He did not like Jacques Lemaire's system. Jacques Lemaire played a trap. And as I've told you before, Gabby wanted to play run and gun. And that's why he went to L.A., because that's how they played. And that's the honest truth. He said it several times. It wasn't because of Minnesota. It was Jacques Lemaire's trap system. He didn't like it. He didn't want to play it.
Kind of like how Fiala went to L.A. and then they just started playing that defensive system and he hates it.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Well, Gabby did run and gun in L.A. for a while. What's next?
Ace following up on his question. We are not playing the kids, so we don't know if they're good or not. Is Height going to make it? Is Ogren going to make it? We don't know yet because we're playing 32-year-olds. Ace, I'll answer this succinctly because I 100% get where you're coming from. We're talking about what needs to happen. If Bill Guerin doesn't do what needs to happen and Kirill Kaprizov does leave, he's not going to be in a position to make any other decisions for this franchise ever again.
Absolutely.
Because he will then have to deal with the fallout of the franchise losing their most profitable,
possession,
successful player in franchise history, and that's not something a GM recovers from.
Nope. Believe me when I tell you, 20 games into the season, if they're going with the lineup they have, you're going to see huge changes.
And
fans are going to demand it.
I will say too, like I'll throw Craig Leopold the benefit of the doubt, because in a situation like this with Kaprizov, if Kirill doesn't stay here, because the number doesn't matter. Kirill Kaprizov, I'm not saying he's going to, but he could say $19 million. Craig Leopold is not going to say no. If something happens to prevent Kirill Kaprizov from staying here, and if Bill Guerin can't get it done, I promise you Craig Leopold will make a change. I promise you that.
Oh, yeah. And I think we're going to see it. A couple of years ago when I told you Dino was going to be fired before the All-Star break, I had my reasons why, and I have my reasons why now. And it all just makes good hockey sense. John Hines is not the coach for this team to be successful. He doesn't want to play the kids. He's not going to play the kids. Height's not making the team. If anybody makes the team, it'll be Ogren. And that's not enough. It really isn't. Which brings me.
How far do we fall if Kirill leaves? Well, that's all
conjecture. I don't want to get into that.
That is a good question. I don't really know how to answer that though, because it's not like they have nothing. it's not like they have nothing on the team outside of Kirill. It's just Kirill is so important to what they do. That'll be. I'm going to bookmark that one, Ace. And if I have a day in the summer where I am just in a not a great mood, then I'll go down the rabbit hole for that one.
All right. I would like to, for the last deal here, Jesse brought up her view on goalies, which I really thought was interesting because I've never really thought about this before. She's dead set against wins for goalies as a stat. What do you guys think? And ladies, and myself, if you pitch a shutout, you shouldn't be counted as a win for a stat. Or last night, as an example, Walter had 40 shots. And if you didn't stop 38 of them, we wouldn't have won the game. Why wouldn't he not be considered a win for a stat? It's some. That's her view and that's my view. What do you guys, ladies, think? I really think wins should be a part of the stat process. The most important, of course, is save percentage. That's the real deal.
Trav agrees. Only stat that matters for a goalie is save percentage.
There you go. Because that's the telltale there. But, all you have to do is stop one more puck than the opposition. And our defense is going to be a lot better this year. But we're going to have a lot of trouble scoring goals with the lineup that is currently projected. And, my thoughts on it.
If he wins the game, he wins the game. That's a stat that matters. I like that. I like that from Evan.
Yes. Absolutely. And I don't know why Jesse thought that wins shouldn't matter because it's a team game, but the puck stops with the goalie, period.
Yeah. You can be San Jose and have a really, really bad defense, and I bet those goalies are wishing that they had a few more wins on their hands.
Yeah. So is that it?
We got a lot.
Let's get to it. Come on.
I'm trying to kind of bookmark some of these for episodes. Freddie has a bunch. Let's go to over or under 50 points for Rossi this year.
Over.
Is Marcus Johansson? I think over for Rossi too. Is Marcus Johansson in the top 6?
No.
I would just rather see that spot be an open competition. Just let the best skater win. And look, if he pulls a rabbit out of a hat and he wins the job by scoring goals and shooting, that's one thing. But I don't want to just hand a spot to somebody in a critical role and just say, well, we're just giving it to him just because. Over under 65 points for Matt Zuccarello this year.
Under. I got him at like 40, maybe. And for Rossi, I got him at 65.
Okay. I got rid of that one. O-Train wondering who the number one center is for the Wilds. Depends. Depends on the line. It should be Joel Eriksson-Ek, but it depends on the line combination.
All right, now it's Hartman.
Yeah. How long have Alicia's Hines on? I feel like Billy will wait too long to make a move. This is another situation where the ownership comes into play because is his deal done?
No.
When did he sign?
Last year is this year, I think.
Okay. Oh.
What? No.
I think for that reason, here's how I think this is going to play.
Oh, no.
I don't think John Hines will get fired this year. If things go unless things go like outrageously wrong. I don't think he gets fired because if I was an owner, I wouldn't want to be paying 3 coaches myself. So I can't get upset about ownership not wanting to pay multiple guys because I wouldn't want to do it myself. So I think Hines, I think he will last at least the season. If things go really, really, really wrong this year, I would not be surprised if Bill Guerin is shown the door, or at least told to step, like Denny, like you've said, at least told to step out of the GM role and to just take more of an advisory position.
Well, he's the president and relegate the duties. He needs to step away from signing contracts. He's good at some things, but that's not one of them.
Well, and hopefully we're seeing some of that because I think we both agree that Matt Hendricks has done a good job in his early work as the GM for Iowa. So
I really like what Matt Hendricks has done down there. The players he had signed and the direction the Iowa Wild are going, I really like what he's doing.
Yeah. So
in fact, we'll be going down there shortly to watch a game or two.
Yeah. Yes, we will.
Because as you all know, I'm going to be doing a once-a-week review on the Iowa Wild, which is going to be a lot of fun.
A lot of eyes on Iowa this year. Boy, oh boy. Let's try to rapid fire some of these. Over under 80 points for Boldy this year.
Over.
Ace wondering for both of us, biggest player surprise of the year. So which player on the roster do you...
Rossi.
I am going to say Marcus. No, I'm kidding. This is interesting, and I think just for the sake of the bit, I'm going to say Jacob Loco, because I think the Wild will give him that Brandon Duhaime role, and I think he's very capable of doing it. And I think
absolutely.
I think the speed is going to be something that's noticeable because every time I watched Brandon Duhaime jump on the ice, the speed was noticeable because this team has a need for speed, pun intended. And so if he can provide that on a line, and especially with if Murat Huznadinov ends up being his center, that line's going to be flying all over the place.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
So I'm gonna go there. We have votes for Murat from Trav. We have got votes for Murat or Rossi. Evan says Rossi for him. Here's a question regarding Pavel Novak. ECHL or AHL this season? I think with how he played last season in the he deserves time at the AHL level. I would agree with that.
Well, I can tell you this. I will give you my absolute opinion once I watch him play. I haven't seen him.
There we go. Okay, we talked about that one. I'll answer this from Wild Crush. Anyone know what preseason game we will see some players actually play? I believe from what I saw, Wednesday, there will be some regulars that'll play, or at least some of the prospects. Like I think Riley Heights
in Dallas, right?
Yeah, that's in Dallas. I think Riley Heights going to play. I'm of course frantically trying to find that tweet. But the problem is I don't even know who tweeted it. Maybe I dreamed it. No, I'm pretty sure I saw somebody say something to the effect of that they're going to be playing on Wednesday. Some of them will, and then it'll ramp up after that. Friday at home. I think that's a home preseason game. I would imagine there will be a bunch that'll play on that Friday game, and they'll just kind of ramp it up.
They
They'll ramp it
normally
up
have
beyond
everybody for the last preseason.
Yeah.
So we'll get a real. In fact, we should go to that game.
What does Rossi's contract come in at? He says he's buying steak dinners if he gets 65 or more points.
Really? I'll take you up on that.
Huh.
If he's under 65, I'll buy you a steak dinner.
Oh.
I'm telling you right now, Rossi is a stud. He doesn't get near the accolades that he should. You know, scoring 21 goals on your own in this league is tough to do. And I believe, you know, he won't be third line long. They're going to put him back up at second because Hartman is not going to be first line center longer in a few games. And, you know, like I said, first 20 games, everything's going to change because the Wild are going to be last place. And the fans are going to just go out of their minds. And when they stop going to the games, that's when things will change. So I'm over 65. You're under 65. Steak dinner either way. Let's do it.
What else? Is 55-1 fair odds for the Wild to win the cup?
I wouldn't take that bet either. Oh God!
That might
We're
not
nowhere
be,
near, not even a playoff team now.
That might not be high enough. Oof.
That's just throwing your money away at 55-1. Oh God, that's a good one, Freddie. Oh God. What else we got?
I found it. It was Russo that tweeted it. John Hines said we'll see Riley Heidt, Liam Ogren, Hunter Hates, etc. Wednesday in Dallas. Philip Gustafson starting that preseason game. Game is televised locally on Bally's.
All right.
So we'll get some actual names on the roster for that.
Oh, did you see that they're charging $80 a month to watch the Wild? You can't watch the home games. $80 a month is what they're charging from Bally's. Yeah. Unless I read it wrong. $80 a month. Are they crazy or what?
That's a lot. Jeez.
Well, there ain't nobody, you know, Bally's streaming is terrible. Locks up all the time. And there's other ways to watch it other than Bally's, as I've told you. Just remember, NHL 66. Just got to have a VPN number. $10 a month. You can watch every game. Doesn't matter. And I'm not getting paid for that promotion. What else we got?
Jeremy, can we talk about Freddie for a minute? He plays the first preseason game, has 0 shots and a +1. The only other player in that game with 0 shots was Luke Toporowski, and he scored a power play assist. He also won 25% of his faceoffs. Yeah, I don't know what to. I got to come up with something. I got to come up with something to chart that this year, because charting players that did nothing was not fun this past year, and it happened way too much. So I'm going to come up with a creative, fun way to track lack of performance. Whether it be the Lockdown Wilds goose egg of the night or something along those lines, because it feels like we're going to have a lot of those again this year.
Well, I can tell you this. If I was the GM, I'd give up a 4th-round draft pick just to move Freddie and Morel and Bogo. I mean, they're taking up spots. Plain and simple. 4th-round picks to get rid of them is worth it to me.
It sounds like a deal. I'll do it. I'll step in as GM and do it. Beyond that, Ace is saying it looks like it's $19.99 a month and $196 for the year for Bally's.
Oh, I must have read something different then. $20 a month now?
Yeah,
that's not too bad.
It's not. It's on the high side, but
yeah, it is. But they don't stream the home games. That's the problem.
Well,
I'm gonna have to look that up where I got the $80 a month.
Maybe this will be the final year of Bally's.
God, I hope so. Because their streaming is terrible.
I would trade Freddie for a future consideration.
Yeah. A bag of pucks. Oh, God.
Like I said, we've played one game, and I can already tell that this season is going to really test my patience. But what can you
do? Wednesday's game should be interesting.
Yeah. Be interesting to see how particular players look in some extended, elevated situations. But I think beyond that,
I think it's time to wrap up the show.
Can we name any other teams that roadblock youngsters as much as the Wild?
No.
I'd have to really look. I
can't think of any.
The only one that I would assume, but it's because they had Alex Ovechkin on the roster, was Washington.
Yeah, they're an old team too.
But they don't really have a farm system.
Yeah, they don't have any talent down there.
Who are they blocking? So probably not. Probably not when Hoptics catches up on the show, he can I'm sure if he finds one, pop it in the comments, because it would be interesting to see if there are any other fan bases that feel similarly to how we do here. But one more from Ace. Final. Rutger McGroarty, can't even say it. Expectations since Wild fans wanted him. Well, it'll be interesting to see how he fits into the Pittsburgh roster, because as it stands right now, they are hard up against the cap too. Maybe Pittsburgh would be another one, but then again, they had Crosby and Malkin. Because their roster,
they've traded away all their picks. They don't have much talent in their farm.
Yeah, their roster is pretty littered.
Yep.
Where did he go? Oh, there he is. Well, he's going to be fighting for playing time with guys like Blake Lizotte, Noah Akari, Lars Eller, Cody Glass. So my guess is he probably factors into a bottom six role for Pittsburgh this year if he plays. Depends on injuries too for Pittsburgh.
Injuries always matter.
Yeah, they do. Beyond that, has the NCAA played any games yet? No, I think it's another week or two before they get going.
Are you talking about the Gophers?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're playing. I've watched a couple of. They played the Minnesota Moose, and they played a junior team that I've seen so far.
Some exhibition stuff.
Yeah.
Evan's got one. The Islanders.
Let
me look at their roster. Then we'll wrap up. Let me look at their roster though. Barzal, Horvat, Anders Lee, Brock Nelson. Oh, yeah, this is a good one.
Minnesota connection right there.
Barzal, Horvat, Anders Lee, Brock Nelson, Kyle Palmieri, J.G. Pageau, Anthony Duclair, Pierre Engvall, Casey Cizikas are all like 28 or above. And then on defense, they got Ryan Pulak, Adam Pelech. Noah Dobson is really good. Scott Mayfield. That would probably be a comparable to a team that just doesn't have a ton of opportunities for young kids if they had any.
And plus, their players are a little bit better than ours.
There is also that.
Yeah.
As far as after the game, yes, I think.
Want to go live?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we probably should. So we'll postcast after the game on Wednesday. And one final one, because I had the misfortune of watching the whole game. The Iowa offense did some bad things to the Gopher football team. Yeah.
I don't want to talk about the Gopher football team at all.
That was painful.
Oh God, it's terrible.
But I'll tip my cap, because that was the most points that Iowa has scored in a football game in 200 years.
And it had to be us.
So congratulations on breaking the 30-point mark for the first time in almost 2 centuries. I kid. But all right, who is our what the hell are you smoking for this week? Do we have one?
Well, I have to go with the starting lineup from John Hines. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. How he come up with it, I don't know, but he gets what the hell are you smoking for me for the lineup.
Yeah, not a bad nomination for this week.
Well, for the projected lineup.
Yeah,
I should say.
There's time to redeem it. No, they know what needs to be done. It's just a matter of doing it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, thank you everybody for chiming in. It's always a pleasure. The family's growing. You know, I love you all. It really means a lot to me that you guys, give me questions and hang out, listen to me talk about hockey. And with that, it's good night.
See you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
We'll have a new episode for you first thing in the morning. I'm going to edit it while I watch the rest of Monday Night Football. So enjoy the rest of your night, and we will catch you again tomorrow. Make sure to hit that like button before you head out for the night, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Take care.
Bye-bye.